Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have Dr. Saber Ahmed Chaudhry. He's a professor, and my question will be with you the recent updates and news headlines on the global media, especially Trump's Middle East agreement. In Saudi Arabia, Trump signed a $142 billion defense agreement and announced $600 billion in Saudi investments in the US, focusing on AI and energy sectors. Major US tech firms like NVIDIA and Cisco secured significant deals during this visit. My question is, President Donald Trump took an initiative to initiate the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Why President Trump's initiative works so quickly, so fast, so effectively? Is there any reason you find, Professor Saber?
The thing is, there are many reasons, and after Donald Trump elected in the election, there were some sort of diplomatic measures, and the policy he has taken, it's have robust effect on world economy as well as diplomatic relations. We know that he cut off his different sort of money and payment in the program of US aid and some other areas. So it has huge effect on their program, and it determines what kind of policy they are going to practice and after within this time. So in the case of this South Asian conflict, especially India and Pakistan, and it starts, we already discussed, from the militant attack in Kashmir, in Pahalgam. But the thing is, we know there are other tensions going on where, including the Arakan Army, Burma Act, this kind of things, where US as a specific focus for a long time. And for the geopolitical reasons, we are also very much attached with these things. We discussed about the human corridors and some other. So where China, USA, India, we have, as well as Bangladesh, have different sort of interest in these things. So I think that USA don't need to allow or don't want to allow this kind of escalation of conflict in these regions, which will create much more impact in the regions. And the thing is, in the last part of the escalation of this conflict, it continued for almost 3 weeks. India was planning to attack on the Noor Khan air base, which was very, close to their nuclear planning strategy, planning centers, and it would create a huge impact on the region which is, densely populated. And USA has specific some interest and have good ties, especially with India as well as in some cases with Pakistan as well. So they were not able to allow this kind of conflict when there are some more importance to implement the Burma Act, some other things. So I think this is the situation. And the thing is, where these two countries were in this kind of conflict, if we mention the comment of Arundhati Rai, she rightly mentioned that it's between the two governments. The peoples of these countries, they are not that much in favor of this kind of conflict, where they have many problems within the country. Unemployment, the economic situations, these kind of things are carrying on for a long time, not only in the case of Pakistan but also in the case of India.
Very fair. And minutes ago, Washington Post has written a speculative article that if the ceasefire somehow some party breaks, then what could happen? Risk of nuclear escalation. While the recent conflict did not escalate to the use of nuclear weapons, it served as a stark reminder of the potential for paid escalation between two nuclear armed nations. But Washington Post editor speculates that if someone, because both the nations are ultra-nationalist, someone breaks the ceasefire, then things may go worse into nuclear weapons.
Yeah, it is usual, but the thing is, what we're thinking, India is not in such a position. They attacked first, and many security analysts, they identified these things as the intelligence failure. When one of their cantonment was very close to the place Pahalgam, as well as among their soldiers, they deployed close to 5 lakh soldiers only in Kashmir. So in this situation, without having a proper investigation, they just jumped into it and started the war. And Pakistan, as for their military strength and economic situation, they were in the policy of deterrence for a long time. And suddenly what they did, they engaged China immediately for their defense strategies and other things, and China backed them very well. They have some sort of contact with Iran, as well as having contact with Turkey. So within a very few days, Pakistan did for their some sort of strategic changes. As well as we need to understand, in their different borders, India, they have Ladakh, where China also deployed and increased the number of soldiers. They need to have very tight borders with Bangladesh and Pakistan. So there was no chance.
Sir, it is not only the tight border, it is a tight relationship as well with all neighboring countries.
Right. So India was not in a position to go for total war, because if you want to attack any country, according to the analyst, you need three times more strength. So if India are not in a position to go for total air, what we assume that they only go for some sort of poking or some sort of air strike, what they did in the previous wars as well. And in the Bangladesh cases, we also see that these things of poking situations where they were trying to push some people within Bangladesh. So when it was the situation and the situation of their trade and economy, there in their stock market, a sudden fall in their stock market, huge strike on their air schedules, and Pakistan also did not allow them to use their airspace as well. So having this kind of situation, India also was not in a position. So both parties was having some sort of ceasefire will be very helpful for them. But the thing is, for the national spirits, for the BJP's religion card and some other things, they were in a different sort of way, but it was not the real situation. So when USA understand the things and they have different sort of focus, so I don't think that they will not go to break these ceasefire situations, because both the country are not in a position that they will poke each other in the medias, or some sort of having tensions in the border, some kind of things.
Yeah, very well. I have just news from The Guardian that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky directly challenged Russian President Vladimir Putin to meet in Istanbul on May 15th, I mean tomorrow, for peace negotiations. The proposed talks aim to address ongoing tensions since Russia's 2022 invasion into Ukraine, with key issues including Ukraine's NATO ambitions and territorial sovereignty. For former US President Donald Trump, who is currently again President Donald Trump, has expressed interest in participating, highlighting the high stakes involvement in Istanbul. Do you think Donald Trump, before coming to the power, he said, if I gonna be the President of United States of America, I will stop all the wars. It will work, because we have seen a symptom in India-Pakistan ceasefire.
The situation is different, the countries are different, the regions are different, interests are different. So maybe it will not work in the same way, because America has already changed their foreign policy and their what we were discussing, the economy, the unemployment, the upliftment of the living standard of American people. So what we saw, Trump's discussion with Zelensky, that he was very much in favor to stop the war. So he was creating pressures, and that's why Zelensky may be in a defensive mode, maybe it will work, we hope so. But the thing is, it will not work like that, the India-Pakistan situation, because there are some other issues as well. And the main thing is when you are dealing with trade and commerce, the main opponent or the competitions is with China. So China has some specific interest, and maybe when Zelensky will not get the support, he will take different sort of alignment or discussion. Let's see whatever the thing is, but I don't think that overnight it will have this kind of situation. They will solve the things like the situation in India or Pakistan.
Do you want to complement anything what Bobby has just very smartly explained, the American policy towards Bangladesh, and he also raised some questions about the Rohingya issues, border with India, control on Bangladesh of India.
The thing is, what was they didn't create huge difference in their foreign policy, so far we understand, but the policy of Donald Trump, we are seeing that very different from the understanding of Joe Biden. So in the relationship of they didn't bother in the previous years. That's why we did not have a proper election, or the one party who didn't have enough support from the people was in power, because they put these matters, the issue of Bangladesh, on the hand of India. So India would decide what will be the fate of Bangladesh. So it was the situation for a long time.
Professor Saber, thank you very much.